I really enjoy being on a parallel journey with Ruby. She's someone who I really trust a lot. Sometimes we're doing different things, but a lot of the times we're doing all these different things for really similar reasons. And I think that's the key to our friendship. I was born in Singapore. My family is Malay. I live in Melbourne, but I grew up here, so I'm from Aotearoa. And I've come back together with my friends to perform some music from my latest album, which is called Family Music. I was a really shy kid, and my mom took me to a New Zealand Army Band concert, and there was a double bass player at the back. And I don't really have reasons. Like when I saw the double bass, it was sort of a very instinctual, like, yes, that's the one. And when I put my hands on the bass for the first time, it was also very instinctual, like, oh, this actually fits very well. I don't know what I'm supposed to do, but it kind of fits. When I was incorporating Malay influences into my music, there was a challenge since I was sort of like geographically isolated from the people in Singapore and Malaysia where they're making their music. And I used to take these walks in Wellington up on Oriental Bay. And one day I sat down and I listened to the waves. And it occurred to me that whoever is in Singapore at a similar beach somewhere is also listening to waves like this. And it's all just one ocean. It's true that I am a Muslim and I am a musician, but I keep music and Islam quite separate. I've been involved in a lot of work overseas where the expectations are very high and the pressure is very intense. And the skills and the attitude and the mindset that you have to develop to have a good outcome is very different than what makes sense in Aotearoa. We sort of put people first all the time, which I think is really great and something that I have to keep trying to learn. But something I find really challenging about being in Aotearoa is also something that I find really beautiful, which is that everybody is really focused on celebrating what makes us all the same. But there's so much passion about exploring what makes everybody similar that it keeps glossing over what makes us different. And not taking the time to respect what makes all of us different causes a lot of discomfort and tension, especially for the people who are carrying the difference. One of the people that I invited to perform with me tomorrow is a cellist and taongo pūoro practitioner named Ruby Sully. I met her at the New Zealand School of Music, and I didn't really know who she was going to be in my life at that time. But Ruby has been an integral part of family music, and we've become really good friends. I know that Ruby is Jewish-Māori, and it's never really been a problem for our friendship. Hello!
Hello!
How are you?
Oh my gosh!
Hi.
I'm good. Good to see you.
Hey, I have some food for us. If you're keen.
Yeah.
Should we go?
Yeah, I'm keen. Let's go. Let's go.
Awesome. Okay. Can I get into your cayenne?
I feel like my spice tolerance will be better than most, but not as good as yours.
That's okay. Nobody's really is, but that's all right.
Ko Ruby May Hinipunui Soli tōku e koe. I am a writer, a taongo pūoro practitioner, a music therapist, and a bunch of different arts-ish based things to keep me in coffee and shower gel, really. I'm from Kāi Tahu, Waitaha and Kāti Māmoe, so iwis of the south. A place called Waitaha, which is near Waimate, so beautiful, beautiful little marae with beautiful people. So I grew up away from my whenua, which I think is quite an interesting upbringing to have, but I grew up in very Māori places and how I think of them. Whakapapa means everything in a lot of ways. I think it's a huge pool to be able to draw from for things you create. And for me, I think that means all whakapapa I have as well, and that's my Pākehā whakapapa as well, and my Ashkenazi whakapapa. Yeah, all those things feed in. If you could have dinner with anyone, who would be there?
I would just have dinner with both my grandmas, and I'll be like, is this good?
I want to have dinner with all of Umar's ancestors. And be
Was it actually
and
good?
be like, was it actually? Yeah.
Okay, so like if you did get to have dinner with anybody you could ask, dead or alive, who would those people be then?
Albert Einstein, Maya Angelou.
Ooh, that's a great one.
But yeah, I'd love to hang out with my grandmother at 21.
Ooh, I never thought about that.
Yeah, I often think about that, like what it would be like to hang out with your people at the same age as you. See what it would feel like.
Yeah.
I think I was about 6 when I was introduced to taongo pūoro through a teacher at National Park Primary School. I then didn't play for quite a long time until I was kind of at the very end of university, and that made me realise what I had been missing, and that makes me want to make sure that our people can keep kind of using taongo pūoro and pūoro in general for hauora and as like a way to help themselves, I think is a really important thing. So that's kind of where it started. These were used in the influenza pandemic to draw mucus out of like the lungs and stuff. So taongo pūoro are, they're not just musical instruments. The fact that they are helping with physical things, with mental things, with community connection. So when your hand is closed and open, it's high. That's such a cool sound. Yeah. In areas like jazz, you transcribe a lot from famous jazz musicians, from famous recordings. But in taongo pūoro, you kind of transcribe from te taiao, from nature. So a lot of that's from birds. The language that we speak, its ancestors, is the language of birds because we learned to speak from listening to the birds in Te Ao Māori mythology. Cool. And we got to be there from 11 anyway.
We're going to rehearse at 12.
I first played with Umar before I met him at a jam session when I was about 16. I think something that's really special about our friendship is that we, 1, don't have the same background, 2, don't agree on everything, and 3, our relationship can always sustain that because we're really tolerant of those things.
Photos?
Yes. Have some. This is my origin story. This is the week I started playing.
This is the week you started playing?
Yeah.
Wow. Very proper.
Very proper, and I'm also like very sunburnt. Yeah.
Okay. What got you into the cello?
I saw Yo-Yo Ma playing cello on Sesame Street.
Oh,
And
okay.
I said, I want to do that. And my family were like, huh. They were like, but if we lived in a city, like maybe you could. And then when we moved to Taupo, I was like, is this a city? They're like, kinda. And I was like, can I learn cello here now? And they were like,
Okay.
oh, okay. And I did, and it was great.
Didn't you like play with Yo-Yo Ma?
I did. And he was buzzed out about it. He was like, you mean to tell me that this little girl living on a mountain on the other side of the world saw me on TV and
awesome.
wanted to do this? Yeah,
That's
he was
awesome.
real keen on it.
Hey,
Yeah, I played guitar first.
that's like a full person's guitar.
It's the size of me, yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm stoked about it. What about you? I bet you've got cute baby photo.
Yeah, okay. I probably have some on here. I have no memory of these. Well, these are just like...
Showing someone your baby photos
yeah.
and saying, hey, I have no memory of this.
Yeah, but, you know.
I think we have very similar minds in very different spaces, which I think is actually like a real strength, if anything, because it means that we have like a really strong link, but we also have opposing perspectives a lot of the time that are actually in the same direction.
Okay, this must have been the first year of jazz school, and nobody knew me at jazz school, but there was like a big poster of my face on the wall. And people would be like, "Is that you?" And I'd be like, "Oh, yeah." Oh, nice. Same sky, same ocean.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting because here I'm sort of isolated from my elders who are Malay musicians who are practicing Muslims. And I don't always know how they handle things. And like in some ways that's good, and in some ways it's challenging.
I think in music is one of the places where I don't have a conflict because both of those cultures have music as a really important thing.
Right.
And I can hear, and other people can hear my whakapapa and my sound, and that makes me feel really good. It's like the big witch soup.
Yeah.
It's like you put all these little bits of music and whakapapa and all these things,
Right.
and then people are like, oh, is there oregano in this? You want to honour everybody all the time. And yeah, I've definitely gone through realising that I'm not actually going to be able to make everybody happy all the time, but
Yeah.
maybe I can honour them all the time by how I live.
In music, I have to think carefully about everything all the time because I feel I'm sort of like spiritually accountable for every decision I make in the music. I need to make sure that the person I express myself as in the music meets the standard of, I guess, adherence or, you know, discipline or goodness or...
Yeah.
Yeah, some of those things are guided by being Malay. Some of those things are guided by being a Muslim. Some of those things are guided by being a jazz musician. And some of those things are guided by being a Kiwi.
It's like 4 different pieces of codes and ethics stacked on top of each other.
Yeah.
So how would you define yourself when you're just you and just yourself?
When people say define yourself, it kind of sounds to me like telling a story about yourself and then acting out the character that that's telling the story about. And I don't really feel like I enjoy doing that.
Yeah.
But I mean, I recognize there is a story.
Yeah, I'm getting some good ideas from this. I feel like we would be ready to play some music now.
Okay, so
Yeah, I feel like we could. Yeah.
cool. Let's go.
If it's not, don't do this to me.
So what's your vision for the family music concert?
I remember a long time ago, I came back from the States and I had all of these like assumptions about like how the world works and like how to make good music. And I was like very vocal about it. And it drew a lot of attention that was like not always positive. And also was like very clearly like, Umar thinks differently.
I would like that on a t-shirt, yeah. I feel like that's often where we both sit.
I could see that you had dealt with that for a longer time, and I was really struggling with it. That was when you met with me, and it really helped me a lot. That was like one of the early moments that started family music, which is about accepting whatever comes out and go beyond the fears that hold me back. What I want to do is include our audience in the experience of family music. Then for everybody in the room to spend time together through music. Thank you so much for coming, and welcome to Family Music. I want my music to inspire people to treat each other well, think carefully about whether they are treating themselves with respect, whether they are treating the world that they're in with respect. I think that's the most important thing for me in playing music, especially playing jazz, is the exchange of respect.
you.